The 10 toughest actors in Hollywood history. When reality meets the silver screen, picture this. You're watching an intense fight scene, wincing as punches fly and bodies hit the ground. But what if I told you that some of Hollywood's biggest stars didn't need stunt doubles because they were already tougher than the characters they portrayed? These aren't just actors who played tough guys. They are tough guys who happen to become actors. Hollywood has always been fascinated by the archetype of the tough guy, but some actors brought an authenticity to their roles that went far beyond method acting. These performers didn't just study toughness, they lived it, breathed it, and carried it with them from their earliest days to the peak of their stardom. Here are the 10 actors whose real-life grit made their on-screen personas genuinely intimidating. 10. Charles Bronson, the man who defined stone-cold tough. Before Charles Bronson became the ultimate cinematic vigilante, he was one of 15 children. In a Lithuanian immigrant family, working in Pennsylvania coal mines from age 16, his weathered face wasn't the product of Hollywood makeup. It was carved by years of genuine hardship. Bronson served as a tail gunner on B-29 Superfortress bombers during World War II, flying dangerous missions over Japan. His military service and working-class background gave him an unshakable composure. That translated perfectly to films like Death Wish and The Magnificent Seven. Directors often noted that Bronson never needed to act tough. He simply was tough, and the camera captured that authentic granite-hard presence. 9. Steve McQueen, the king of cool who lived on the edge. Steve McQueen's reputation for being genuinely dangerous wasn't just publicity hype. Abandoned by his father and raised by an abusive stepfather, McQueen spent time in reform school where he learned to fight for survival. He served in the Marines and was court-martialed multiple times for various infractions, including going AWOL. McQueen's real-life passion for motorcycles and race cars wasn't Hollywood showboating. He was a legitimate professional racer who performed many of his own stunts. The famous motorcycle chase in The Great Escape was actually McQueen himself, and he insisted on doing the dangerous driving sequences in Bullitt personally. His fearlessness wasn't acting, it was simply who he was. 8. James Caan, the actor who brought street smarts to stardom. Long before he became Sonny Corleone, James Caan was a tough kid from the Bronx who understood violence intimately. He played football at Michigan State and later studied at the neighborhood playhouse, but his street credibility came from his upbringing in one of New York's grittier neighborhoods. Caan was known for doing extensive research for his roles, including spending time with real-life criminals and law enforcement. His portrayal of volatile characters wasn't just good acting, it was drawn from a deep well of personal experience with conflict and confrontation. Fellow actors consistently described him as someone you wouldn't want to cross in real life. 7. Robert Mitchum, the rebel who never quite left his wild ways behind. Robert Mitchum's criminal record was as impressive as his filmography. Before becoming Hollywood royalty, he was arrested multiple times, including a famous marijuana bust in 1948 that could have ended his career. Mitchum had worked as a boxer, a ship worker, and had ridden the rails during the Great Depression. His laconic, I don't give a damn attitude wasn't a persona. It was genuine indifference born from having faced real hardship. Directors loved working with him because his natural toughness meant he could deliver authentic performances without the dramatics that other actors required. 6. Audie Murphy, America's most decorated soldier turned movie star. Audie Murphy holds the unique distinction of being both Hollywood tough and genuinely heroic. As the most decorated American soldier of World War II, Murphy single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers while standing on a burning tank destroyer. His Medal of Honor citation reads like something from an action movie, except it actually happened. When Murphy transitioned to acting, his military experience provided an unmatched authenticity to his war films. Unlike other actors who had to imagine what combat was like, Murphy had lived through some of the most intense fighting of the war. His quiet intensity on screen reflected the real trauma and courage of someone who had genuinely faced death countless times. 5. Yul Brynner, the bald badass with a mysterious past. Yul Brynner cultivated an aura of mystery around his background, but what's certain is that he possessed a formidable presence that went beyond his iconic bald head and intense stare. Born in Russia and raised in China, Brynner worked as a circus performer and trapeze artist before coming to America. His physical conditioning was extraordinary. He maintained a rigorous fitness regimen throughout his life and was known for his incredible strength and agility. Brynner's performances in The King and I and The Magnificent Seven showcased not just acting ability but genuine physical authority. His commanding presence wasn't manufactured. It came from years of physical discipline, and an inherent understanding of power dynamics. 4. Ernest Borgnine, the Navy man who brought authentic military bearing to Hollywood. Before Ernest Borgnine won an Academy Award, he spent 10 years in the U.S. Navy, including service during World War II. His military experience provided him with a discipline and toughness that served him well in Hollywood's rough-and-tumble environment. Borgnine was known for being able to handle himself in any situation, and his fellow actors respected his no-nonsense approach to both his craft and his personal relationships. Whether playing villains or heroes, Borgnine brought an authentic military bearing that couldn't be taught in acting classes. 3. Lee Marvin, the Marine who never stopped fighting. Lee Marvin's toughness was forged in the crucible of World War II combat. As a Marine in the Pacific Theater, he was wounded in the Battle of Saipan and spent 13 months in military hospitals recovering from his injuries. Marvin returned to civilian life with a deep understanding of violence and its consequences, which he channeled into his acting career. His performances in films like Point Blank and The Dirty Dozen carried the weight of someone who had experienced real combat. Marvin never romanticized violence. His portrayals were gritty and realistic because he understood the true cost of conflict. 2. Telly Savalas, the tough guy with an Ivy League education. Telly Savalas proved that toughness and intelligence weren't mutually exclusive. Despite his intimidating appearance and New York accent, Savalas was a psychology graduate from Columbia University who spoke 5 languages. His toughness came not from street fighting, but from an uncompromising intelligence and fierce determination. Savalas served in World War II and later worked for the State Department before turning to acting. His bald head and distinctive voice made him instantly recognizable, but it was his sharp mind and unwavering confidence that made him genuinely formidable. 1. Kirk Douglas, the driven perfectionist who never backed down. Kirk Douglas's toughness manifested as an unrelenting drive for excellence that bordered on obsession. Born into poverty as the son of Russian Jewish immigrants, Douglas clawed his way to stardom through sheer determination and an almost frightening work ethic. He was known for performing his own stunts and pushing himself to physical and emotional extremes for his roles. Douglas's commitment to authenticity was legendary. He learned to paint for lust for life and trained extensively for his physical roles. His toughness wasn't about fighting. It was about never accepting defeat and always pushing beyond conventional limits. The legacy of authentic toughness, what separated these actors from their contemporaries, wasn't just their ability to convincingly portray tough characters. It was the genuine life experience that informed their performances. In an era before CGI and extensive stunt work, audiences could sense the difference between manufactured toughness and the real thing. These 10 men brought something to their roles that couldn't be taught in acting school. The hard-earned wisdom that comes from facing genuine adversity and emerging stronger. Their legacy extends beyond their individual filmographies to influence how we understand authentic masculinity in cinema. They proved that true toughness isn't about posturing or aggression. It's about quiet confidence, unshakable resolve, and the kind of inner strength that can only be forged through real-world experience. In today's Hollywood, where everything can be digitally enhanced and carefully crafted, the raw authenticity of these performers remains unmatched and irreplaceable.